Let's head to a developing story in the NBA. Joel Embiid has been suspended 3 games without pay for shoving a Philadelphia Inquirer columnist. Embiid has yet to play this season because of ongoing issues with his left knee, which he had surgery on last season. The Sixers, they are set to face the Clippers. That's tonight on ESPN. So I want to bring in our senior insider, Charania, into this conversation. What's the Sixers' plan for Embiid once he fulfills this 3-game suspension, Shams?
Sources tell me Joel Embiid will make his season debut next Tuesday against the New York Knicks at home in Philadelphia. That's the NBA Season Cup opener for the Philadelphia 76ers next Tuesday at home. And that means his 3-game suspension will be tonight against the Clippers, Friday against the Lakers, Sunday against the Hornets. And finally, the attention and focus goes back to basketball for Joel Embiid. Obviously, one of the greats of the game, former league MVP. You think about his first 2 seasons, his first 2 weeks of this season, he's had a technical foul. He's had a part in 2 investigations with this team. One, the team got fined $100,000. Then he gets his 3-game suspension with a loss of salary of over $1 million. The focus has to go back to basketball. Nick Nurse said it the other day. They want Joel Embiid's focus to get back on the court. They need him on the court. Obviously, they're night and day with him on the floor versus when he's on the sideline. So the goal is, and the plan is, for him to play next Tuesday at home.
Shams, thank you so very much. Let's take a look at the games that he is going to miss here. They have games at the Clippers and the Lakers, as well as a home game against the Hornets, making him eligible, as Shams just reported, to make his season debut Tuesday. That's against the Knicks, and that is Philadelphia's Emirates NBA Cup opener. But this was supposed to be a breath of fresh air for the 76ers here, and they find themselves, Brian, once again just embroiled in this drama, from Ben Simmons to James Harden, and then the start of this year. How do they break this cycle?
They've got to find some stability, and that's what they thought they had. They spent $600 million. Did you guys hear that? $600 million in the offseason to sign Paul George, Joel Embiid, and Tyrese Maxey. That was what they were going to have. That was going to be what their basis of their team going forward. Obviously, they haven't had those guys on the court together at all yet. And Daryl Morey is known for rotating his roster. Paul George is known for injuries, and Joel Embiid is known for injuries. So what they need and what they can get seem to be 2 different things.
The Real Housewives of Philadelphia. That's what you call the 76ers. Real talk. I mean, it's full of drama. Think about it. We shouldn't even be talking about this right now, right? Obviously, it was a plan in place. That's what it looks like. But it wasn't managed. It's not managed well, because there's no way that we even should be talking about Joel Embiid being suspended for 3 games. There's no way that they should have got a $100,000 fine, because you know why? The information, Chiney, Malika, Wendy, myself, we should have never knew that Joel Embiid was not going to play back-to-backs. That should have never been out in the public. What happens behind the scenes is, majority of the time, you meet with everyone, and then y'all go over a plan, and then you have your PR media person there.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, we're not going to share this type of information. So, yes, they have a plan, but it seemed like it's not managed well.
Yeah, and on top of it, like, they have a plan, but at this point, this is a squad that came in. I think it was you, Big Perk, that predicted that they would win the East early on after they got Paul George. Not to, like, throw shade to that, but the point is that it's time for them to play. They're second to last in the East. That is not okay, especially when you have a billing of $600 million. But more importantly, that plan was to have your players out there, even if it meant less games or moderated minutes. If you look at Paul George, his debut, I mean, didn't shoot the ball well. Tyrese Maxey, he's always been a bright spot, but he's been getting shots up. At this point, winning cures all. Yeah. Like you said, there have been so many storylines and narratives that don't pertain to basketball, and that's what this team, especially this year, has been constructed to do. So to me, the plan has been made, but now it's time to play.
Right.
And the problem is that Joel Embiid delayed that until a huge now matchup with the NBA Cup.
We haven't seen them whole. It's still really early on in the season. I don't think we need to hit the panic button yet. I am curious if the calculation, what's the look for?
Is it me?
No, listen, Malik, we have to stop with it's too early. Because, see, these are the games that will come back and bite you at the end, right? These games matter.
But that's what I'm curious about. Does the calculation change maybe for Joel Embiid? You come out at the beginning of the year, say we're not playing back-to-backs. Well, you didn't account necessarily for missing all of this time early.
I think you're both right, because I think it is early, because look at the East. They don't have a bunch to climb over. There's only 2 teams in the East right now that have winning records. So, like, if they were 3-3 instead of 1-5, number one, they'd be in third place. Number two, wouldn't be as much pressure on them. So, but you're right. The games in November matter. But I think they have a little bit of a grace period because the East is shaping up like it might not be that deep.
I get that, Wendy, but it's so hard to win games in the NBA. And we're watching a team like the Brooklyn Nets knock off top dogs, right? Get quality wins. And you have to be prepared. You have to have all your soldiers. That's why you have to play in tournaments.
And most importantly, we've never seen a big three come together and win that year. So time is of the essence to try to figure that out.
Absolutely right. And that's why I'm wondering if, okay, they said he's not going to play back-to-backs, or Joel rather said he's not going to play back-to-backs now. But after seeing this come to fruition, is that still going to be the plan?
That game against Cleveland, which we just showed, that's the second night of a back-to-back. So Joel will come back next Tuesday, but my guess is he ain't playing Wednesday.
See,
so
but
you're looking at missing 4 of the next 5.
Joel Embiid, he's nicknamed Tyrese Maxey, the franchise. Well, he's going to have to be to start the season for the Sixers.
Sixers 1-4 now, searching for answers here early in this season.
A lot of different pieces on why we've been losing.
Great Sixer debut by Paul George, so not much more than loss number 5 on the season.
I thought we were down 1, otherwise go for the 3 to try to win the game. Another bonehead play.
So we keep waiting on the Sixers to be whole. Their big 3 of Embiid, George, and Maxey, they have not yet taken the court together. Paul George, he did make his season debut Monday in Phoenix, and then he reflected on his 5-year Clippers tenure before facing his former team tonight. Take a listen.
I mean, I think, it got kind of misconstrued or narrative kind of wasn't written correctly with the relationship with Lawrence, the relationship with Steve Ballmer. I mean, they were awesome the whole time I was here. Kind of the reason why it was such a shocking, decision, how it played out at the end.
So that was Paul George this morning. Now joining us is our NBA reporter, Young-Masuk. You actually talked to Paul this morning. What did he say about his understanding about how it all crumbled with the Clippers?
Malika, I asked Paul George, do you understand why you're no longer a Clipper? Because as he had said on his podcast, he wanted to remain a Clipper and said he would have taken a 3-year, $150 million extension, the same that Kawhi Leonard got back in January. But as negotiations dragged on, he later would want a no-trade clause or a 4-year max contract in case he would be traded. Lawrence Frank told me he was willing to give Kawhi Leonard and Paul George another 3 years, but he was going to draw the line at a 4th year or a no-trade clause. So much like from Lob City, the end of Lob City, to 2019 when they made that big splash to get Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, the Clippers are pivoting. They're looking to try to get another superstar or 2 in their prime to carry this team, but want to remain competitive. This isn't a full reboot, Malika. Much like after Lob City, they still have Kawhi Leonard. They still have James Harden. Of course, Kawhi has to come back healthy. But Steve Ballmer says he thinks they made the right decision in adding young defensive players with affordable contracts so that they can pounce if there's another star. I asked Kawhi Leonard in training camp about no longer having Paul George. He came to contend and win a title. And he said, look, things change. Players change. Do I think I can win with this roster? Do I think this is a roster that can win? Yes, I think I can win with this roster. Of course, he has to come back healthy.
Well, we get to see the Clippers and Philadelphia at 10 o'clock Eastern right here on ESPN. In another world, it would have been Paul George opening this brand new arena, but alas, that is not what came to fruition. Thank you so very much.
Okay, well, I'm going to be honest with you, Malika. This was kind of difficult because figuring out the top 5, it's fluid. So I got the Dallas Mavericks 5th. Now, they are underachieving offensively right now. They are outside the top 10 in overall offense, in three-point attempts and three-point percentage. I thought that Clay would make a big of a difference. I thought Luka would be the guy we'd be talking about making an early season MVP run. He hasn't been exactly at the top of his game so far. I think their upward mobility is there, which is why I've still got him at 5. Now, at 4, this is a little bit controversial. I've got the Warriors. Now, they are 6-1. But they've had a bit of a favorable schedule so far. And I know they would say, well, they won 3 games without Steph. And
they're about to not.
The next 3 games are at Boston, at Cleveland, and at Oklahoma City over the next 6 days.
Oh.
We're going to know a lot more about them. I am ready to move them up, but I want to do that. At number 3, I've got the Timberwolves. And this is Again, I'm projecting a little bit. The Wolves' defense is outside the top 10. I don't think it should be there. I think they are a better defensive team than they've shown. I am looking at their upcoming schedule. They play the Bulls tonight, and then they play the Trailblazers 3 times in the next week. I think they could get on a little bit of a run here, but I admit the Warriors could pass them. Now I get into a little bit more comfortable position because the Phoenix Suns have been terrific so far. Last year, as I've said many times, they were the worst fourth quarter team I have seen in my 20 years covering the NBA, according to the numbers. This year, they've got 5 wins. All 5 of those games have come out of them being in crunch time. When you look at their team, they run a lot better offense together. Their top players are screening for each other. They've got much better clutch time play.
Okay.
We're seeing the results.
And number one.
Not only are the Thunder undefeated, Malika, every single one of their 7 wins has been by at least double digits.
Nuts.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is actually kind of hurting his MVP case because he's not playing as much. He's averaging 5 fewer points than a year ago. His stats are down because they don't need him. The other night, Chet played 22 minutes. And take a look at this. So they've won 7 in a row.
Right.
We know they've got the game with the Warriors coming up. Look at what their next 25 games are. The BPI favorite in 25 games. January 5th against the Celtics is the next time they're the underdog.
So how long? This streak could go on for a minute.
Well, let me say this. That is a great list, Wendy. I'm telling you, well done.
The king of lists. The king of lists.
That is a
I
great
appreciate
list.
it because I don't feel great about it. I'm not gonna lie.
No.
It's
That was
pretty
a great
solid.
list. That's a real good list.
It was solid.
Wait,
I'm waiting for but.
Was there like
No, it's
did
not a
you
but.
have like a pause for like a little bit of an honorable mention for Houston? Did you think about? I know they're not up there really, but like technically, if you look at the actual standings, you know.
They were under consideration.
Okay, I'll take that.
They're
Taking it under advisement.
I'll take that.
And we'll see how the
This is fluid.
rankings
They in
continue to
underwriting
reshuffle,
right now.
as games
You went to the
roll
game,
on.
Perk?
They're in underwriting right now.
We're going to get to
Took down the
Houston in a bit.
Knicks.
Mortgage.
But we'll see how things continue to shuffle.
Good list,
as
Wendy.
games continue to go, right? Friday,
I feel like there's
KD,
another
Devin
shoe to
Booker.
drop. I don't know why I'm getting praised.